In many European nations, riding a bicycle is a way of life. It's also a primary means of transportation. Such is the case in the Swiss city of Zurich, where the streets abound with bicycle riders. The casual atmosphere of the city streets bears no resemblance to the intense atmosphere that prevails on the steep banks of this high-speed track as the world's premier bicycle racers go head-to-head in a battle for international prestige. The brilliant lights of the Oerlikon Velodrome burn brightly on a beautiful Swiss night, and the capacity crowd in excess of 8,000 has filed into the facility for the 76th renewal of the World Cycling Championships. Hello, I'm Gerould with a special Sports World greeting from Zurich, Switzerland. This is the first time in 22 years that this beautiful Swiss city has hosted the World Championships, and the call has gone out to some 300 incredibly dedicated athletes representing 30 nations who are now poised, ready to provide the breathtaking type of excitement that they only can provide on the incredibly steep banks of this velodrome. Among the teams entered, of course, the United States. Our men determined to break the domination that has been enjoyed by the Soviets, the Germans, and the Japanese. Our women hoping to extend the domination that they have enjoyed over the past 10 years. Joining our Sports World broadcast team, former European competitor and the acknowledged and renowned European cycling expert Phil Liggett, who is standing by now in the infield.
Well, Gary, that's absolutely right. And in fact, the American girls come here as being among the best in the world. Connie Paris-Skavin will try to defend her world crown. She won in Leicester last year. And in the pursuit, we're going to see probably a good battle if Connie Carpenter can just go one better than the silver medal she also won in that event. There might be a surprise, too, in Cindy Olivari, because she won the American title this year. Now, if we look at the men, well, there's Gil Hatton. He's down for 2 events, and he's extremely confident he can get a medal in at least one of them. Well, if you can't do it in Zurich, you may not do it anywhere at all, because this track in training is proving to be the fastest at sea level the world has seen for many, many years. And I think we might see some of the best competition that we've seen since the Moscow Olympic 1980 Games.
Okay, Phil, and right now we get graphic evidence of just how fast they circle this velodrome. 43-degree banking. This is a unique professional event, and we should remind you that the events for men are divided into professional and amateur divisions. This is called Keirin. It's a sport tremendously popular in Japan. The man on the circle, Gil Hatton, in the States better known simply as Gibby. He's from Pennsylvania, a third-year professional with the opportunity to become the first American medalist ever in the World Championships in the Keirin event.
And so with just half a lap to go now before the pacing motorbike drops off. Until then, the riders can't pass the machine. And Gibby Hatton tucked in nicely on the inside of former world champion Danny Clark. That's him in the white helmet, little bit of rough stuff at the back. As they come round for the last lap now, the motorbike goes off. First man back to the world champion, Urs Furler of Switzerland, bursts out the pack. In the red jersey, takes on Michel Barton of Belgium. Gibby Hatton coming through well there on the wheel of the former world champion Danny Clark. There's a crash there. 3 men go down, Hatton survives. Furler comes round, well in the lead now. Clark and Hatton challenge for second place. Furler wins the gold medal, Danny Clark is second, and what a result for the United States. Gibby Hatton takes the bronze, and that's the first medal for the States since 1912.
Gibby Hatton competing in only his 4th Keirin event, a surprise medalist in Zurich, but right now, immediate concern for those injured riders that went down in such spectacular fashion on the back straightaway. Phil, what happened?
Gary, I think there is no quarter given in professional cycling, and the riders in the front simply would not open the door to the men on the inside. The result was the Belgian went down, the Italian went down, and the unfortunate Japanese. He fell really badly here. But at least Hatton survived the situation and went on well.
Gibby, congratulations.
Thank you.
Was it a bit of a surprise at all? How did you assess your chances going into the competition?
Well, it was such a difficult race that anything could happen, and I thought if I could get towards the front with a lap and a half to go that I had a good chance to get in there. I don't think I was lacking too much as far as my speed and strength. It was just a matter of getting the right position.
Were you worried at all about any particular rider? You had Danny Clark right behind you.
Danny Clark and the guy that won, Urs Fuhler, he's very fast, very fast.
How about the situation over here when the spill? You were very close. It was right off your shoulder.
Well, Japanese and Italian were on the inside, and I was right behind Danny. And that was the perfect wheel to get, and Fuhler was in the front. And Danny got tangled up with the Italian, and he just went down. And everybody, I guess the Japanese hit him, and I was to their right, and I just swung up a little bit and missed it all. And once that happened, I was in the clear, and I wasn't really worried about nobody behind me because, you know, the crash was so close to the end, everybody just hesitated for that just split second.
How does it feel to be the first American to win a medal in Keirin competition in the World Championship?
Fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to having an opportunity to go to Japan and race where the big races and big money is.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Unfortunately for the rest of the riders involved in that crash, only bumps, scrapes, and bruises. Women's sprint finals coming up. Connie Paraskaven goes for the gold for the U.S. We're back in Zurich, Switzerland, the city of enchanting beauty. For the moment, the beauty is far from the minds of those competing in the World Cycling Championships. The Swiss Cycling Federation playing host to the World Championships for the 7th time in their 100-year existence. Earlier, I had an opportunity to take a close look at the track. We've talked about the steepness of the banks of this velodrome at Oerlikon, 43 degrees, and I suppose the simplest and the most effective way to show you just how steep it is to try to climb up the embankment. And even with tennis shoes on, it's virtually impossible to get more than 8 or 10 feet up a 30-foot wall. It is indeed very, very steep. Right now, we're in the finals of the women's sprint. Connie Paraskaven, defending gold medalist from the United States, going against a familiar rival, Claudia Lomatch from West Germany, who we see right here. And while we talk about a sprint, Phil, very little action taking place at the moment.
It's always mystifying at this stage, Gary, because the advantage always lies with the rider in second place. In this case, it's Paraskaven, and of course, the German girl, Lomatch, wants Paraskaven to take the lead. She's allowed to stand still, and if Paraskaven weakens, she'll roll forward.
A true battle of wits taking place between these two riders, each waiting for the other to make a move that will spring them into action. A bit earlier, Phil had a chance to talk with Connie about race strategy.
I really find, sprinting on the track really exciting because all the races are different, and there's always an element of surprise in there. You don't know what exactly is going to happen, and it's sort of like trying to outsmart the other person, and I really like that. It's exciting to me.
The veteran rivals now breaking away from the stand, and it's Lomatch, Phil, who has moved out. Paraskaven still has the advantage of being behind her to read her every move.
Yes, Gary, Connie is trying to do everything right in this second run in the final. She's already one down. It's best of 3 in the final. She was in a similar situation in the semi-finals. She came through well, and now she's on this second run. And there's no doubt in my mind there that Lomatch leaned on the wall just then, and I think that Connie has realised it. She's appealing to the referee. Her arm went up in the air. There it goes again now. The crowd's beginning to whistle. Well, that certainly was an illegal manoeuvre. My advice now is that Paraskaven gets on with it. She's registered the complaint and try and win the round. It's very, very difficult indeed to lock on to the bicycle like this, to try and hold it steady on the banking. You've got to keep the pressure on the pedals, either forward or backwards, otherwise you'll simply fall down. Now you see that's a good piece of riding by the West German there. She's managed to persuade Paraskaven to come out in front. I think it's worth pointing out too, Garrett, these bicycles only weighing around 15 pounds. And of course, unlike a road racing machine, there's no brakes on them. So once you're moving around this bowl, the way to stop is to simply wait for somebody to step out and grab you by the hand. Now that's 1 lap to go now. Paraskaven warms up well at the front. She's been given a lot of leeway here by the West German. 2 lengths. West German winding up very well there. Tries for the inside, doesn't get it. Paraskaven blocks nicely there. Down the back straight now. Good acceleration by Paraskaven. Remember, she's got to win this one. Although she has an appeal already lodged against the West German, and she's coming home now. Still a good length in it on the line. Well, Paraskaven's won that one. That's 1-1 now. And I think there's no need to lodge that complaint after all.
critical performance turned in by Connie Paraskaven. Had she lost that round to Claudia Lomatch, it would be Lomatch going to the victory stand for the gold medal. But that suspense is prolonged just a bit further now as Connie Paraskaven keeps her gold medal hopes alive, trying to successfully defend the championship she won 1 year ago in England.
Paraskaven's final burst of speed leveled the score at 1 win each.
Connie's final showdown with Claudia Lomatch will come up short. You know, Phil, many times it seems we focus on the physical aspects of achievement. Now, the U.S. team is unique in that they bring along their own sports psychologists. An interesting concept, Dr. Jacobs. What is your role?
Well, mostly looking for some mental edges that they might be able to use in competition. We're at a level here where you're talking about athletes who are the best in their countries from all over the world. So we're looking at that fine line between mental and physical competition and looking at some of the mental things that they might be able to use that can help them to possibly defeat their opponents.
Do you find subtle little ways of trying to inspire different athletes as you get to know them better?
Yes. For instance, with some of the different athletes, we'll think of specific words or ideas that they might think of when they're riding that can help to motivate them during the race.
Just another indication of how sophisticated the sport of cycling has become. Right now at the start line, we're looking at Mark Gorski, considered the top American men's sprinter. And right now, Phil Liggett, he is facing perhaps the most significant ride of his young career.
Yes, indeed he is, Gary, because Gorski knows if he can finish fifth in this 1,000-meter sprint, then he's going to go to the Los Angeles Olympic Games, seeded number 3. Gorski on the front, the two Japanese riders, Katsuo Nakataki and Sumono Sakamoto, then Bratislav Sustra in last position. So Gorski really has his hands full here because he cannot see the tactics of the men behind. It's worth noting, though, Gary, that because there are 4 men on the track, we don't see the standstills that we've seen in the girls racing because there's simply too many of them, too many men to keep an eye on. Gorski's doing well here to take at the front, and I think he'll try and pin most of those riders up on his right shoulder.
Remember now, no opportunity for Gorski to win a gold, silver, or bronze medal. He's battling for 5th place in the event. These riders battling for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and here comes the first break.
Well, this is Sustra moving smoothly to the front. One of the Japanese riders trying to take the wheel as Sustra. Gorski must watch out he doesn't get pinned at the bottom here. There's the bell, 1 lap to go now. Sustra on the front. Gorski making a good move here, an early run for home, 1 full lap of the track. Gorski on the top, Sustra on the bottom. The 2 Japanese riders seem to be adrift at the moment. Gorski making the final bend first. Very good piece of sprinting by Gorski here. Coming round this wall very, very well indeed. It looks like he's going to take 5th place. And he takes it very, very well indeed. He's going to be very pleased with that, Gary. And in fact, that's the best result by an American sprinter in the amateur world since 1949.
Certainly the American team, buoyed by the effort turned in by Mark Gorski. Not good enough for a medal, but that 5th place finish in the all-important Olympic seeding uppermost in his mind. Strong performance. We've seen Gibby Hatton already win a medal, and here's Gorski now, battling for the number 5 spot.
Well, Gorski was very worried by the fact there were 2 Japanese riders in this ride-off, but of course he beat them on sheer speed. They couldn't even get on terms with him. He put them both where he wanted them in 6th and 7th places.
Mark, I know this was a very significant event for you. It's the best American placing at least in 10 years, but more important, this has been key for you in your Olympic hopes for 84.
Definitely, because now I'll be the 3rd seed next year at the Olympics, and the last highest placing in the U.S. was 1949. The rider was 3rd, and this is the best since then, so I'm just thrilled. It's been a long time coming, but I had to do it.
Hard work is paying off.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'll be right in there for a medal in 84.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the men off to a great start. Coming up, Connie Paraskaven in her bid for the gold, trying to defend the world championship she won 1 year ago. More from Zurich after this. The Oerlikon Velodrome on the outskirts of Zurich, Switzerland. I'm Gary Gerould, along with British cycle racing expert Phil Liggett, enjoying not only the World Championships of cycling, but Phil, some fine food as well. And it seems that the food is as much a part of the celebration and the festivity as the racing.
Of course it is, Gary. I mean, the cyclists are here to do a job, and that's to take gold medals home. But for all the people who come along here, and this stadium's been packed every night, 8,000 people, They're here to have a good night out, and part of a good night out in Switzerland is to eat as many wursts as you can, I think, and drink as many glasses of beer.
Meanwhile, in the pits, determined preparations continue for events that lie ahead. As riders warm up, mechanics make important decisions relating to gear ratios, anything that will give their rider just the slightest advantage. It could be a matter of inches at the finish line. Connie Paraskaven, famed speed skater for the United States, famed cyclist, getting ready for the third and final showdown run against Claudia Lomach for the coveted gold in the women's sprint final. But first, let's take a moment to bring you up to date on events that have already been completed.
The two fastest men in the world, Sergei Kopylov of Russia in the lead, Lutz Hesslich of East Germany in second position. This, the final of the men's 1,000 meters sprint. The second man, the Olympic champion. The leader, Kopylov of Russia, the defending world champion. These two riders know each other so well, and Kopylov, 2 nights ago, has already won the world kilometer crown. This was the match which packed the stadium. The crowds came to see the likeable Russian and the likeable East German, because both riders have played their part in being great personalities as well as the fastest men over the final 200 meters in any of the sprint races. There's the bell. 1 lap to go. Kopylov in the lead. This for the gold medal. Kopylov has to win to take the gold. So does Hesslich. Hesslich shadows Kopylov. Kopylov looks all around for him. Now he must go for home. Look at the acceleration of this rider. Up to 48 miles an hour as he comes round the bowl now. Hesslich still closing on him now. Going to his shoulder. Hits the home straight now. And Hesslich comes back. He takes the title for the first time in 3 years. The crown goes from Russia to East Germany.
So there you have it, the men's sprint final. Remember, these two men are the men that Mark Gorski will have to beat at Los Angeles for Olympic gold next year. But for the host Swiss, the highlight had to come in this event. The men's points race, and one of their own came from back in the pack to take the gold medal.
And inside the last half lap now, the crowd are on their feet. There's a chance here that Urs Böhler in second place can take his second gold medal of the week. Böhler comes over the shoulder now of the Dutch rider. 2 more riders trying to take his wheel. Fröhler shows his turn of speed. He gets the gold, and Switzerland has gone crazy.
Tremendous response from the thousands gathered here as Urs Böhler, the hometown favorite, produced his second gold medal effort of the week. And the moment that the Europeans so dearly love, an opportunity to show their appreciation, as from the stands come 2 flag bearers to join Böhler on the ceremonial victory lap. A final opportunity to pay tribute to their superstar. But right now it's the third and final showdown in the women's sprints. Connie Paraskaven from the United States, from Detroit, Michigan, seeking her second consecutive world title. We talked with her coach, Roger Young, and asked him to assess her chances.
She's really hungry. She wants it again, you know. I mean, it's very difficult to get into it again after last year, especially since my sister isn't racing that seriously anymore. She doesn't really have the really tough competition. And so, you know, she sort of has to beat me in training, but that's really not competition. That's not winning or losing, because, you know, I can still make her go, but she still needs another girl to really train with. And so this has all been, you know, question mark ever since we got here.
A lot of drama comes down.
Now she knows what she has to do, and I think she can maybe pull it off in this one. We're hoping, you know, but we definitely know what has to be done now.
Well, she had to fight from behind to even force this third and final showdown, and right now Connie Paraskaven has slipped out in front of Claudia Lomach. Is that to her advantage or disadvantage, Phil?
Well, I would say, Gary, that's to her disadvantage, and I would think that Lomach will be very pleased to have Paraskaven in front. She can keep an eye on her and try to read her moves, because the object of match sprinting, which is what this is surprise, and the one that can gain the surprise usually wins the match.
A lap and a half to go. 3 times in her career, Lomach has been a bronze medalist in the World Finals. Paraskaven, remember, is the defending champion, and right now she has to keep peering back over her shoulder, trying to figure out when Lomach will make the all-important move.
Lomach is full of confidence here. She's a girl who knows that she can beat Paraskaven. She's done it once in the first run of this final series, best of 3. Now it's 1-1. The winner takes the gold medal. Paraskaven leads out, and goes for the inside there. A very good piece of sprinting by the West German girl. Gets it too. Now Parascevin has it all to do there. She takes the slipstream of the West German. Round this final banking now. Now it looks as though the West German has the speed. She's gone a little bit high there. That could be an objection, but Parascevin comes anyway. Over the top, hits the line first, and the United States takes the gold medal. And for Parascevin, that's the second in 2 years.
A gutty performance being acknowledged by this crowd. Connie Parascevin literally gritting her teeth, and when it appeared that there was virtually no hope coming off the final turn, having to take the high side around the track, she managed to sweep by Lomatch for the victory. Congratulatory kiss with Coach Roger Young and the embrace of a two-time world champion.
Well, it really looked here, Gary, as though Parascevin was out of it. She did well to get back into the slipstream of the West German girl. Lomatch at this point must have been very confident. She went very high there, that red line. Now, that's not allowed in match sprinting, but because Parascevin won, there was no objection. No doubt who the winner was.
Connie, congratulations. Terrific performance.
Thanks.
You believe in doing it the tough way, coming back 2 out of 3 2 times tonight.
I don't believe in doing that. Just the way it worked out. It's nice. Would have liked to, have the advantage and maybe win the first ride, but,
It makes you believe in yourself, though, when you come back and do it the tough way, doesn't it?
yeah, I guess. It's nice.
How does the sound of two-time world champion sound to you right now?
Sounds good right now.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Again.
Thanks.
And so U.S. domination of the women's sprint competition continues. For 4 consecutive years, the Americans have brought home the gold. Still to come, Connie Carpenter and Cindy Oliveri in a battle for the women's pursuit title. Back at the Oerlikon Velodrome outside Zurich, Switzerland, I'm Gary Gerould with Phil Liggett, awaiting now the final event of the night. And it should be a great one as far as U.S. interests are concerned, for 2 American women meet now in the 3,000-meter pursuit. Connie Carpenter, shown here, last year's silver medalist, gazing across the track in anticipation of a showdown with her arch-rival Cindy Oliveri.
And here is the United States champion wearing one of the newer streamlined helmets. The 9-lap pursuit is a curious blend where riders not only chase each other, but time is often the deciding factor.
For the 26-year-old Carpenter, an amazing total of 11 national championships in her career. I talked with her about her sense of commitment to the sport. What's the driving force? What's the incentive that makes a person want to seemingly punish themselves so much to go out here and compete?
Well, I guess there's no sport really that's harder than cycling. It's really demanding, and that's part of what, to me, makes it so exciting and so challenging. And I guess that for me, the incentive is really that I have a lot of athletic talent, and I have a lot of chances to really do something with that talent. And I think that you only have so many chances to be really good at one thing. And so, since I'm good at cycling, I pursue it. And sometimes you get out there and wonder why you're doing it because it hurts so much. But it's a great feeling when you win.
So the question of U.S. dominance in the women's competition has long since been answered. The United States assured a gold and a silver. The only question now in the women's pursuit, who wins the gold? Who wins the silver? Connie Carpenter, who 1 year ago was a silver medalist, now goes for the gold, while across the track, her competition, Cindy Oliveri.
A tense moment, an all-American final in Switzerland. In the bottom of the picture, Connie Carpenter, and at the top, Oliveri from Pleasant Hill. Carpenter makes a good acceleration from the start. Now, the first half lap, she's likely to stay out of the saddle. Both riders' times appearing on the screen, and the rider who is behind will come up quite clearly in a box. And there is the first indication that on the half-lap start, Carpenter is behind by a little over 3/4 of a second. Now, in pursuit racing, it's very, very important the riders settle down quickly. The coaches will tell them whether they are up or down. And right now, Carpenter has made a disastrous start, over a second behind Oliveri.
Cindy Oliveri came to Switzerland having competed in only 4 pursuit events, and you can see now that she has a 1.24 second advantage over Carpenter. Oliveri earlier this week in the preliminary rounds established a new all-time world record. That mark then was lowered by Carpenter, but Carpenter still trailing by better than a second here in the early laps.
Well, these are undoubtedly now the two fastest girls in the world, and they've come to the final together, and Carpenter's still going slower at 1.44 seconds behind, and this really is a turn-up. She'd be very, very disappointed by this early start. Although she's been out of the sport for some 7 weeks beforehand because of a wrist injury, she's come here in good form, and 1.37 seconds the gap that time.
And to give you an idea of the U.S. domination as we continue to watch those very important clocks, 1.5 seconds, Carpenter trailing Oliveri. We must point out that Rebecca Twigg of the United States won this event a year ago. She chose not to compete this year, favoring instead the road championships.
I think that's the reason, Gary, that Connie Carpenter felt she could come here and lift this title. She'll be very disappointed now that she's riding around behind Oliveri. We'll take another check at the half lap here. And the gap, 1.62, and that is enormous.
It has widened again. Oliveri, buoyed by the confidence of a national championship victory in her homeland in recent weeks. And perhaps that confidence giving her the extra incentive, the extra push now as she maintains a 1.5 second advantage over Connie Carpenter.
Well, this very fast start by Oliveri, I think, has unnerved Carpenter. She's still a long way behind. Here's another lap time coming up, 1.81. The race is now half over. And there's Oliveri settling in very, very well. You can see, Gary, by her style, very, very smooth indeed. Still shoulders, only her legs moving. That's the good sign. Look at the gap, 1.86 now.
Cindy Oliveri recognized as the top individual time trialist in the United States. She seems to have developed more speed, we hear, in recent weeks. And it's clearly evident now. And again, well, look, it's nearly 2 seconds, the separation. Carpenter with a 2-second deficit against Oliveri, well past the midway point.
Well, Connie Carpenter, Gary, is in a desperate situation now. She really must be thinking this title is going away from her. What can she do? And she's going to be terribly, terribly disappointed.
Well, on that last interval, we saw that she had gained a half second. She cut it down to 1.5 seconds. And a flicker of hope for Connie Carpenter. It's down to 1.3 seconds. So she is now gaining ground back against Cindy Oliveri. But the question is there enough time? There's the bell. 1 lap to go, and less than a second separates the two.
And the whole of the stadium now are on their feet. This is a really dramatic finish to one of the best pursuits I've ever seen. As they come through with half a lap to go, Carpenter now down to 0.57 of a second. Going out for the final half lap now. Oliveri must wonder, has she got it or hasn't she? Into the back straight for Oliveri. And underneath comes Connie Carpenter. Look at the gap. She's won the world title. Oliveri has lost it by 0.16 of a second.
Incredible performance by Connie Carpenter. She trailed by nearly 2 full seconds. She was more than a half second off the pace at the final mark, and yet in the space of that half lap, she came on and she wins the gold by merely 0.16 of a second. Connie, that last couple of laps is about as heart-stopping as it can get. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's probably more heart-stopping for me than for you, but came through.
How aware are you of those splits when you get down to the last lap?
Well, I had my trainer in the infield, you know, and I knew every lap and every half lap where I was. And, you know, I thought I had it lost, but I couldn't give it up. You know, in some ways I wanted to, but then I knew I just had to keep going because I've been beaten that way before too, you know. In fact, that's how I lost last year, so just kept it going, and this means so much to me. It means the world.
A silver medal last year. This year it turns to gold. That's got to be a tremendous feeling.
Thank you. I've been trying for this for about 8 years now, and it just feels like nothing else.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
A terrific performance, and a tribute to all our American medalists right after this. And so what a dramatic way to conclude our coverage of the World Cycling Championships here in Zurich with American women atop the victory stand. Connie Carpenter, the gold medalist in the women's pursuit. Cindy Oliveri taking home the silver medal. For Phil Liggett, I'm Gary Gerould, bidding you farewell from Switzerland. And as we leave you, let's live again, one more time, the proud moments of our medal-winning athletes.